What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Hey, I'm Amy Chang. I'm a nationally board certified health and wellness coach, and this is Healthy AF. In this podcast, I'll be bringing you all things health, from the newest health strategies to how to tackle those personal roadblocks that just will not let you move forward. So buckle in. We're going to be inspired and instructed, and dadgum, we're going to have a little fun on Healthy AF. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Healthy AF. We are talking about self-care in the summer, specifically for those times you are off your schedule, you are around your people that you've loved and missed all year, but now you're around them 24/7. Your children might be home from school. Your children might be home from college. Maybe you've got a graduate. Maybe you've got 2-3 weeks in a hotel room with your spouse. Let's talk about how you take care of yourself in all these variables that the beautiful summertime days bring us. This episode is titled Flexibility. Recently, I had a beach vacation. I've shared about that in the other podcasts. And I wanted to let you know that I had such big plans for that beach vacation, right? Can you relate? When you plan this trip and you're going to be doing this and that and this and everything's going to be great and the weather's going to be fine. Where does flexibility come in, and why have I thrown it in with self-care? Let's take a peek. So I had a beach vacation coming up, and I was going to be around my cousin's kids, a 5-year-old named Hope. She is a sweet little girl, and a 8-year-old named Luke, and he is smart as a whip. So I don't get to see them but about once a year. And I came up with this really exciting way to be able to connect with them and kind of help them remember who I was. And it was going to be a holiday every day. Welcome to the madness, right? I was going to okay, well, on Monday, we'll celebrate Christmas and we'll just put up a little Christmas tree, maybe serve them cinnamon buns and give them a little Christmas present. Nothing big, maybe a pack of markers or, something. And then Tuesday could be Thanksgiving and we could have just turkey sandwiches or maybe some sweet potatoes and give them a little, maybe they get a pair of sunglasses or something. And I had all these big ideas to celebrate holidays and even other days. Like one of the days was going to be, you've had a bad day at school day. And one day was going to be like, something really awesome has happened day. So that I got to have some of those days with them that I don't get to have with them. So I had these big plans. And then I found out that 3 other kids were coming. Well, I wasn't going to do anything for my 2 cousins and not do anything for those other 3 kids. So then it was like, oh, okay, probably need to shift the holiday thing, need to make some activities that now I've got 3 5-year-olds, an 8-year-old, and an 11-year-old. The 11-year-old is a girl, the 8-year-old's a boy, and then I've got mixed girl-boy at 5s. So my plans were just like, okay, how can we make this work? So we created several different activities, and we were just ready for anything that happened. Then my mom fell down the steps, and we had to take her to the hospital. And so that shifted things a little bit. That was the first time I had to be flexible in my beach plans. But the second place I had to be flexible was with all my kid activities. So that I had in my head exactly what it was going to look like and who was going to love what. We had Lego sets. We had spa, barbershop, tattoo parlor day. We had a big ream of brown butcher paper with markers that I thought that we would just roll out and play on. We had little tiny pieces of pottery. They're called pottery beans to give each kid. Let's see. It was We had all kinds of stuff. We had bubbles. So how did that play out? There was the way I thought it was going to play out, and then there was the way it actually did play out. The way I thought it was going to play out, I thought that we'd have very structured time, and they would come to me maybe after lunch for a quiet hour. I thought that they would come to me and we could all read stories together, particularly like after we get in jammies, and we could read some stories and they could go night night. I thought that spa slash barbershop slash tattoo parlor day would be a big hit. And everybody would love learning to shave our faces with the shaving cream and with razors that had, I had super glued the covers on. Now, let me just give you some background so it doesn't sound like I'm crazy. One of my most special memories with my dad was going into his bathroom when he was getting ready in the mornings, and he would do his, shaving, and he'd take out the razor blade and give me his razor after he finished. And then I could, put the Barbasol on and do all my shaving, wash it off in the sink, just like he did. So we had planned that wouldn't all 5 of them love to learn how to shave their faces? Why wouldn't they? Well, that was a massive flop. Massive. The 2 5-year-old girls were like, no, we don't want to do that. Okay, great. The 5-year-old boy didn't even come. And my 8-year-old nephew was like, what? Why? And the 11-year-old girl was like, no. She was more into other things. So that was sort of funny that didn't work out well. And then we thought maybe spa day would work, but that didn't work either. No one was interested. What was the surprise winner was the tattoo parlor. Now, we had bought about 75 tattoos of various, we had a rainbow unicorn sheet, and we had like a summer fun sheet that had the sharks and rock and roll and guitar and palm trees and, all kinds of stuff like that. And that was a massive hit. My oldest kid, Maggie, and I set that up. We got her in the recliner, and I was like, all right, Maggie, are you ready? And she was like, yeah. And she's pretending like it really hurts to get a tattoo done. And surprisingly, we probably put 60 tattoos on 4 kids that day. So that was a real hit. What a joy to be able to be with the children doing something I wanted to do. I wanted to play with the children. I didn't have to do it. I was not asked to do it. I wanted to have time to connect with particularly my cousin's kids and also their buds who are, like family too. And I got to do that. And it wouldn't have been possible if I had not been flexible. I don't think as a mom, when mine were that age, I was as flexible. I wanted them to have spa day. I put in all the effort and all the money and all the planning, and I had dreamed up in my head about how great this was going to be. And then when it flopped, I was pissed. I was irritated. I made it that there's something wrong with my kids. All they want is electronics, or all they want is, I made it about that. Part of our self-care in the summer is letting go of some of our expectations so that we can be flexible. I know that might sound like it's a far stretch, but using tools that help us keep our emotions in check and our commitments firmly in the forefront is self-care. It is self-care. I could have become so attached to those children not wanting to learn to shave their faces, something that's like near and dear to my heart, that I made it that, oh, kids of these generation, blah, 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 whatever. Thankfully, as an old mom, I could be more flexible than that and realize that they just wanted what they wanted. And that was really what I wanted, was for them to have a blast and have something to remember me by. And now they've got, the matching unicorn rainbow tattoos to remember me by. It was so important that whole week that in the midst of family time and in the midst of, oh crap, mom has a concussion time, that we were flexible enough in our expectations. Flexible enough on like, well, what does it look like now? When are we going to eat? Do we want to eat together? Do we want to eat separate? I got to make some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and put them in the freezer for beach days and take them down there. I don't know that they all got eaten. I'm not sure that my little cousins, my 5-year-old, my 8-year-old cousin, wanted those. And we actually had to throw, I think, one out. If I were attached to that expectation that they were going to eat those sandwiches and it was going to be the best thing ever, and they were going to say, oh, Aunt Amy, you have saved the day because you are so wise and so helpful that you have made these sandwiches for us. Thank God you're here. Had I been attached to that expectation, I probably would have been real irritated. Part of my self-care is keeping my expectations flexible. Staying in a state where I know what I'm doing and I'm doing it because I'm committed to doing it, and the result is separate. The result can be flexible. I made sandwiches for my family because I love them and I wanted to support them in that way. It could be that they didn't want that support or that they just didn't need that support. You see the difference there? Flexibility is key when you're looking at self-care in summer. Now, we're also going to talk about the flip side. Just like we all benefit from being flexible in our expectations, there is a fixed or rigid need as well in our self-care. And that fixed, rigid need is understanding what works for you and holding to that. Some people call them boundaries. I like to call them promises to myself. What promise do I need to make to myself and keep so that I can live from a generous, giving, joyful, present moment space? If I don't keep my solitary time, if I don't keep my rejuvenation and take care of myself in that way, if I'm not kind of rigid about that, like, no, I can't just give up my solitary time. No, I can't just give up my sleep. No, I can't just give up, a decent meal. Then I also can't show up and make sandwiches and not be completely tied to whether or not they get eaten or are appreciated. I can't be flexible there either. I can't be flexible when the children don't want to learn to shave their faces, which is crazy. Who doesn't want to do that? So see how they both play together. Your self-care has to be bolstered so that you can have the flexibility, which is also part of your self-care. I think I've beat that dead horse, and I think you get it. If you don't get it, please send me an email and say, I want to know more about that, or just like, I didn't get that. Our next episode we are going to be talking about another piece of your self-care: connection. And as connected as we get in the summer, sometimes we find that we miss some connection too. So listen in next week. So far, we've covered in our self-care series for summer, we've covered solitude, solitary time, and 4 things you can do to create that for yourself. We've covered how solitary time actually plays out when you go to the beach and have a medical emergency. We've talked about being flexible in your expectations and very fixed and rigid on your promises to yourself. And now we're coming back to connection. So I'll see you next week. You're right here on Healthy AF. Please give yourself a lot of grace. Yeah, that's inflexibility too. All right, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Healthy AF podcast. I hope that it has helped you create a new possibility for your health and sets you into action to go get it. If you want more information or if you want to connect with me, visit my website at myhealthylife.coach. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that each new Healthy AF episode will be sent directly to you. Let's take you from where you are to where you want to go.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.